Hello everybody, so this is what Deku was Thor Part 1. Now, I am inspired by this because, well, I love the character of Thor. I just love his story arc and his character development through the MCU, and I just want to do that in My Academia. So, let's get started. So, Deku is born relatively the same, but he's born on Asgard. Deku is born on Asgard, and Deku is the, pretty much the youngest brother of the two brothers of Asgard. So instead of Thor and Loki being brothers, Deku is actually taken from Jotunheim, the same as Loki. But Deku shares more shares more Asgardian DNA than Loki. Deku's mother or birth mother is actually Thor's birth mother, meaning that Deku is sort of Thor's half brother. So Deku was born with a human appearance, but some frost giant qualities like frost giant strength and agility, but he didn't get any ice manipulation or any of that. So he was technically Asgardian, because not that much frost giant DNA passed through Deku's veins. So Deku trained and trained with his brothers over the centuries, being exactly like his brothers. Deku, a few days after, whole entire incident, Deku did, fight alongside his brother against Loki, because everything that happened in the first Thor MCU movie happened in this What If. So Deku did, train with his brother and did fight alongside his brother as well. So Deku was fighting with his brother, and then Loki, near the end, jumped off the roof. But Deku also jumped after and tried to catch him or pull him back in. But Thor, out of a shrinkle of pretty much hope, he let down his hammer and Deku grabbed it. But Deku got pulled down right next to Loki. They started fighting on their way down the pretty much portal, and then they got separated on Earth. Deku was teleported on, well, pretty much Japan on Earth, and fell in a field of grass. Deku got back up, seeing that Mjolnir was in his hand. Deku realized that he was on Earth and that his brother may have given up his power to him. So Deku had the power of Thor now, because Deku's brother gave him Mjolnir. But we'll get back into Thor later, because my Marvel characters do exist in My Hero Academia. So I might make some Marvel heroes train some of the kids in My Hero Academia, but we'll get back into that later. So Deku's walking down the street with Mjolnir on his hammer, and Deku is actually in the same outfit that you see now, in an Asgardian outfit. So Deku, at this point, is walking down the road, and everybody's looking at him kind of weird, thinking that is this kid like a new hero or something? Deku's walking, and Deku is about the same height as Ida, or the same height as Thor in canon. So Deku's walking down the street, and he eventually sees the sludge villain in a tunnel, because Deku walks down that tunnel. And then Deku shows up on Earth the same day Deku leaves. The same day the sludge villain attacks. Deku sees a whole entire commotion, seeing Bakugo being strangled by the sludge villain. Deku recognized that Bakugo kinda looks like his brother, but, now with the long hair, and he doesn't look like such a, asshole. So Deku grabs his hammer, flies over there, and throws his hammer straight to the sludge villain. But Deku's hammer is more changed. Deku's lightning is green instead of, original blue, right, like his brother's. And also Deku's eyes glow green when he uses his hammer or his powers. And Deku also, well, his, what was it? Oh yeah, Deku's pretty much, what was it? Oh yeah, hammer does glow green, like it's a huge green light in the core of his hammer. Deku throws his hammer, and it pretty much obliterates the sludge villain straight off at Bakugo. Bakugo falls onto the ground, not being able to get up because the hammer's on his chest. Deku pulls the hammer off of Bakugo's chest, and Bakugo gets back up. The medical team gets in there and pretty much checks up on Deku, and some of the teachers are about to, some of the heroes are about to scold Deku, but Deku just flies out before the press can ask him any questions or any of the heroes can get a good look at him. Deku flies off and flies back down to pretty much on a mountainside, a couple of yards into the forest away from Japan. And Deku is on top of the mountain. Deku's looking at his hammer, seeing the markings that were engraved in it, or when his brother was banished for a short amount of time. Deku recognized that his brother did talk about pretty much, heroes like Captain America and Iron Man and stuff like that. Deku flew around the city, seeing villains and seeing how the world was more, powered up than it originally was. So Deku started to take this time and advantage. If I'm stuck here on Earth, and my brother's probably not gonna know where I am for a couple of years or months, I might as well become a hero on Earth like my brother did. So Deku applied to UA. Deku applied to UA. So Deku trained over the months using his brother's hammer to its full potential, getting about the same skill that Thor had in Thor Dark World with his hammer. Deku was about ready to go full on. The entrance exam started up, and Deku went to the entrance exam the next day after the last month of his UA training. So Deku went to the UA, and Deku bumped into a girl, Mineta. Mineta said, sorry, and Deku apologized as well. And Mineta kind of flirted at Deku because Deku was kind of more, handsomer. Deku did say thank you, and did flirt back with her a little bit. So Deku walked off, and Mineta thought Deku was a little bit weird because he talked really, more or less old-fashioned, like a Viking or something. So, and Deku was walking down, and eventually he got to the practical exam. Deku was just listening what President Mike was explaining the class, and Deku was really excited. They started, and Deku flew past everyone, grabbing onto his hammer. Deku was flying around the match, ramming into robots with his hammer, crushing them. Deku eventually got to the Zero Pointer robot and conjured up a lightning storm to take down the Zero Pointer, and the Zero Pointer fell down to the ground backwards. Deku flew down there near the rubble of the Zero Pointer robot and saw a girl under some rubble. Deku used his Asgardian used his strength to push the rebel off of Ochaku and grab her and fly her to Recovery Girl. Deku flew her to Recovery Girl, and Deku walked off. After that, Deku went back into the practical exam, or the fake city. The practical exam was taking place, and started taking out more robots, gaining up more points. Eventually, the practical exam was over, and everybody was sent back home. Deku went back home, and Deku's home is basically just a cottage around a cottage like where Odin was on Thor Ragnarok, where Odin was. So Deku had a cottage in that area. And it wasn't really that far from Japan. It's a couple of yards out of the district of Japan, but Deku can always just fly there because he could fly like Thor. So Deku was looking at landed his hammer onto the ground of this cottage, and he was just walking around his cottage. Deku was drinking some hot tea when he heard a knocking on his door. Deku opened the door, and he saw that pretty much his brother, not Loki, but Thor, was at the front door. Deku was happy and hugged his brother, and his brother hugged him back. Deku's brother offered to take Deku back to Earth. Back to Asgard, but Deku said that I want to become a hero on Earth because I've seen all the bad and the death and horror that's happening on planet Earth. On Heimdall, whatever it is. And Thor respects this and says that, well, they're gonna need proper training because you've just been doing mediocre training. So Deku gets trained by his brother the last couple of days, and then he gets a note from Yue that he got in. Deku goes to Yue the next day, class 1A, and Deku's in class 1A. Deku has his hammer on his, pretty much, desk, and he goes to talk to Minato. Minato talks back, and Deku sees that Momo is looking at Deku's hammer like it's some sort of freaking a relic. Momo says that looks a lot like Thor's hammer from the news on America. Deku says, "Oh yeah, Thor's my brother," and everybody in class goes like, "What? The guy from the Avengers, Thor, is your brother?" Deku says, "Yeah." And Deku was confused to know that Japan knows about the Avengers. I thought the Avengers were only districted at America. And Kirishima says, have you heard about the news, kid? So Deku did check that off. And then Deku did recognize the boy in the front of the class was the same boy that he saved later. And Bakugo didn't notice it yet, but it was Deku that saved him. Deku was sitting in his chair when Azawa walked in class and explained to the class they're doing quirk assessments. They go outside, and Deku's told to, pretty much throw the ball first. Deku uses his hammer like a bat and pretty much slams the ball up into the atmosphere, burning the ball up because pretty much it falls out of the atmosphere. He hits it out of the atmosphere. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So Deku goes for the sand jump, and Deku jumps over the sand pit pretty easily. Deku just uses his hammer and kind of rides it like a broom across the sand pit. For the race, Deku flies by everybody, passing Ida. Deku for the grip test strength, Deku gets first place because he uses his Asgardian strength from his hammer, and also he uses his frost giant strength as well. Deku is looking and looking, and eventually, Ozawa gives everybody their syllabus or syllable and tells everybody that that's all for the day and go home. Ozawa stops Deku and says, "So, what's that hammer for?" Deku says, "Oh yeah, it's a hammer like my brother's, but it helps me conjure up my powers." Deku just makes that lie up because his brother gave him that lie, so he wouldn't be, suspicious. So Deku, after that whole entire incident, just went back home, and Deku was grabbing his hammer, pretty much just messing with it, doing some partying tricks, like juggling with his hammer. Eventually, he heard another knocking at his door. Deku opened it, and he was hit with a dagger in Deku's stomach. Deku fell on the ground, and Deku looked up and saw his brother. Deku's brother said, I don't hate you as much as I hate our older brother. But you need to listen now. If you see me, you do not stop me, brother. I love you, but I won't think twice about killing you." And Loki leaves Deku's cottage. Deku was shocked that his brother would just stab him like that. Deku did call his brother after that, telling Heimnya, or telling the guy that the gatekeeper at Asgard and Deku soon saw his brother come at the door, and his brother did patch up help Deku patch up himself. Deku was shocked. Thor, was shocked that Loki would just stab his younger brother like that. Deku said that he still loved me and that he hated you. And Loki was kind of confused, but also understanding. At this point, Odin was out of his own sleep, and he did tell Loki. He did tell Thor about, old diary, him being a frost giant and everything. So Deku was just look, looking at his mark, saying that it was getting healed up. After that, Deku went to sleep the next day, and then he woke up, and he went to the UA the next day. So I'm gonna leave it off here. See you guys later. I may not keep on doing this, but I might will still be doing this. See you guys later. Bye.